Hi everyone, this is Joanne from Melbourne, back with a bit of a look at some of my stationery items that I prefer to use. I thought I'd just share with you some of my favourites. So starting off with pencils, I much prefer mechanical pencils. I like fine pencils, so these are Pentel 0.5 pencils. That's pretty much what I use mostly, but recently I came across these Palomino pencils, which are absolutely divine. They are just the Rolls Royce of pencils. They have a rubber in the end, and you can buy replacement rubbers, and this is called the Palomino Blackwing. You can also get the Palomino Blackwing 6.602, and I love both of them. I did also have to buy the pencil sharpener that goes with these pencils because it was really difficult to sharpen them without using this authentic Palomino sharpener. A recent find also are highlighter pencils, and that's these ones here. I've also fallen in love with these. They're especially good when you've got a really super fine paper that a highlighter just won't work because it might go through. So these are highlighter pencils, and I've got an orange and a yellow, and again I bought the pencil sharpener that goes with these, and I absolutely love these. These live in one of my Filofaxes because it's just quite handy. This has got an end in it. Both of the pencils are coated at the end, so at least you know what colour you're going for, and this is just a cover. I wish they both had covers, but I'm not too fussy. I'm just glad I've got one. So I really do love those highlighter pencils. So now I come to my fountain pens, which I've had a few over the years. My absolute favourite pencil was one I had quite fountain pen was one I had quite a number of years ago. I prefer pens that are thin in the body or quite fine, and I also like extra fine nibs. So pretty much that's the only criteria that I have when I buy fountain pens. I bought this one a few years ago when I just lost hope that I would get one like the one that I lost in about 2002, and I have to say I still mourn the loss of the pen. Have no idea where it went. This is a Parker pen. I'm not a big fan of this pen. I did have to buy a extra fine nib, so I've got the other nib as well. The reason I'm not a big fan of it is that it doesn't always work efficiently when I want it to work. I can't really remember how much I paid for this. It was probably about $170, something like that. But I've never really been a fan of it. So it generally just sits in my drawer and I don't often use it. A pen that I recently discovered that I have fallen in love with, and it goes against the grain because it's quite a thick barrel, and that is these Lamy pens. I have used and used and used these pens. They are just superb pens for the price. So they're great to use as an everyday pen because they're not outrageously priced. They are plastic. They come in a variety of different colours, but I think it's the design of them, because they're slightly square and then rounded on the edge. It makes it a really good pen to hold in your hand. It's also quite thin up here, where you do actually need the thinness, and that's where I find this is a really comfortable pen in my hand. Surprisingly, I would not have thought that this was a great pen, and I literally have fallen in love with these pens. This comes with a fine nib. The place where I bought them from didn't have any extra fine nibs in stock, so I still have to source my extra fine nibs. I do much prefer extra fine nibs. They've also got, I'm just about out of ink on that pen, but you can see here on this white one that there's a little window that tells you how your ink is going. These pens come with a replaceable cartridge inside them. I don't usually like using those cartridges. I much prefer to fill the ink barrel, so you buy a converter that goes in here, and then you can buy whatever inks you want and fill them at will. And that's how I prefer to do this. So that's the Lamy Safari fountain pen, and I've made it a mission this year to collect some of the other Safari pens, because if they're half as good as that, they'll be absolutely terrific. The last one I acquired just recently because it was on sale, and I quite like the size of it, and it was quite inexpensive, and it was recommended. A lot of people quite like these pens. They're Kawiko Sport, Japanese. I don't mind this pen. It's quite a, oh, I can't get it off. That's right. You turn it and then put the end in, and there you have your pen. This came with a cartridge inside it, and perhaps that's why I'm not enjoying it, because I didn't buy the converter to use my own ink. So it's not quite what I expected, but it's quite a comfortable pen in my hand. It's quite smooth. It's not thick and horrible. It's quite good. So I do have to buy the converter, and then maybe I will like it. I love the colour. I love the green, the bottle green, and the gold trim. And largely that's why I bought this one, because I quite liked it. Now, the inks. My favourite is J. Herbin ink. I've got two J. Herbin colours. One is black and the other one is Empire Green. And these are gorgeous inks. Absolutely love them. My original pen, I just bought some Parker or Schaefer ink in blue. I'm not a big fan of it. I did get one of these, Noodlers ink. This came as a gift from a store, so I was quite grateful for this. This is in forest green. I haven't used it yet, so I'm looking forward to using that. And then in a store the other day that I didn't know sold fountain pens. I think they only sell Lamy anyway, but I noticed they had some Lamy ink in blue for a 50ml and it was hugely reduced. I think I got this for about $8, and I think it's normally about 17 or something like that. So, and what I love about this one is that there's blotters in the bottom of the ink. So the inkwell, so that's really handy, and it's a nice little dispenser here that you just pull out one of the blotters. So that's terrific. So then we move on to some of the pens. Now I did, because I love the Lamy fountain pens, I was in office work, so I bought one of these rollerball pens, and I'm not a big fan at all. I find it makes my hand ache. I can't write with it for very long before my hand aches. So, yeah, not a huge fan of the Lamy rollerball. I do love these. These are Delphonics pens. These are superb. You buy them in 2 sizes. I've got 2 of these, but one's just not here because it's out in my car in a binder. So these are great for, well, I've got a mini Filofax in my car, so the green one just sits in there quite nicely. This one I use in another Filofax because it's just handy. And this I also use in a Filofax because they write beautifully. And of a lot of the pens that I've tried, ballpoint pens, these are definitely my favourite. For, I guess, everyday use, I did discover these recently, and these are Uniball Vision pens. I quite like the way these write. I love the way they feel. My only criticism with these is that they're quite thick as far as the nib is concerned, and I prefer a slightly finer pen. I did buy quite a few of these, so I've got them all over the house, but it is probably, of these styles of pens, these are the ones I probably like the most. As a ballpoint pen goes, these from Kiki K are absolutely amazing pens. So there's Kiki K. They've got such a fine nib on them, and I quite like them to write with. Very comfortable, and the quality of the ink on the paper is really, really good. Okay, last I've got some felt tip pens from Kiki K. Great colours, lots and lots of different colours. I don't use these very often, but it's handy to have them. Gel pens, I'm not a huge fan either, but I have these Uniball Signo pens in a variety of different colours. I don't use, as I said, don't use them very often, use them sparingly, but they can come in handy. And I think possibly one of the reasons I don't like them is that the nib on the end is very, very, very thick. As far as highlighters go, well, you can't really go past Sharpies, can you? This is my Sharpie collection. So I keep them in a container in my drawer, so it's quite handy to pick any colour that I want. There's a mixture of fine point and extra fine point, so the theme continues on. And my favourite highlighters are these ones from Sharpie as well, and these ones are Sharpie Accent highlighters. They last really, really well, bright colours, and of a lot of the highlighters that I've tried, these are definitely my all-time favourite. So that's a bit of a look at some of the writing instruments that are my favourites. Some recent discoveries, some old favourites, but definitely I've whittled it down to probably this selection. I'd be curious to know what your favourite pens, pencils, highlighters, inks, those sorts of things are. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and bye for now.